My entire community has been shut down just after coming off their feet from Katrina.
Okay. And how long do you think the economic impact would be on the community?
After having been to Cordova, Alaska, the Prince William Sound, the effects there have been over decades. They did their first shrimp run in 20 years this past year, and the herring have never come back. So the long-term impacts are unknown in the Gulf. We can only judge by what we've seen in Prince William Sound, and that's not good.
Do you think people will be fully compensated for their losses?
Absolutely not. Already there's been some prohibition from BP about their culpability, liability. There's Transocean went to Houston and filed an obscure maritime act from the 1800s to try to negate their culpability in the whole affair as well. So this is going to go on just like it did in Cordova, Alaska, unless we stay on top of this, we meaning the citizens of the United States.
Sure. Have there been people in your community that have said that they haven't been fully compensated for their losses yet? Or are they receiving enough compensation?
There are people in St. Bernard Parish who have received their first payment of $5,000, who are boat captains, $1,000 if you're a crew member, and they received one more check for less than that, and then that's been it. Others are still working for BP. The Gold Coast.
Oil domination equals our annihilation. Oil domination equals our annihilation. Oil domination equals our annihilation. Oil domination equals our annihilation.
And water.
Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil has done. Use wind and sun. Look what oil.
Stop the dispersants now! Stop the dispersants now! Stop the dispersants now!
Stop the dispersants now! Stop the dispersants now! Stop the dispersants now! Stop the dispersants now!
This is held on August 19th. Statements from the head advisor to the FDA indicated that inadequate testing was being performed on seafood. Inadequate in sense of the exact analyses being tested for and the extent of the regions being tested. They are not testing in oiled areas because apparently fish don't swim. They don't migrate. Fish, animals, microbes, everything needs to be tested to ensure safety, and this is even backed up by fishermen who do not want their reputations marred by selling bad seafood and making people sick. This is a public health crisis, an economic crisis, and a cultural crisis. Mothers, daughters, fathers, children of the Gulf, children of this nation are sick. Oil and dispersants cause long-term harm. People are suffering from respiratory irritation, central nervous system disorders, including eye bleeds, ear bleeds, headaches, nausea, and vomiting. People have chemical burns all over their bodies. How do you tell a child experiencing this that everything is okay? Our children, our people are suffering and dying as we speak, not to mention the carcinogenic effects that will be noticed decades down the line. Who will be accountable for that? Who will provide justice for the people that contract cancer and suffer for the rest of their lives? We need justice now. We need clinical and public health trials conducted on everyone along the Gulf Coast. We need doctors down there addressing people's health impacts now.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Gary Holland. I was born in the upper Ninth Ward You're familiar with Lower Ninth after Katrina. Then I was raised in Chalmette, Louisiana, in St. Bernard Parish. St. Bernard Parish and Plaquemines Parish were the worst and first impacted by this crude oil invasion. On April 20th, when I realized that we were drilling a mile below the surface of the Gulf of Mexico and then another 2.5 miles into the crust of the earth for oil, I said, what kind of insanity must this be? How addicted to hydrocarbon fuels are we that we allow this kind of technology and then BP is allowed to do it with no failure contingency? I come from an area where when the boys are strong enough to lift up a crab trap or go help their dads go shrimping, they quit school and they go out on their boats, and that's how they make their livelihoods. There's no big corporations down there that produce the seafood or catch the crabs. It's families. Families that go back generations, multi-generations, and it's not looked down upon. It's an honorable way to make a living. It's hard, but that's the people that have been impacted first by this inundation of crude oil. None of us knew. No one knows now for sure how much oil escaped. But it was a gushing geyser of hydrocarbon for over 100 days. Now all these people that made their livings bringing seafood to your tables and a culture, a way of life, our heritage, is gone. And if it's anything like Exxon Valdez and the Prince William Sound, where I've been 4 different times, the evidence is still there decades later. 20 years later, they ran their first shrimp run, and the herring have never come back. So the impacts of this are unknown, untold. We have no idea, well, we have some idea, but the honesty is not there, the transparency is not there. President Obama said he would not abandon us in the Gulf, but yet here we are.
I walk outside my house on the Alabama coast. I breathe it in, my mouth burns, my lungs fill with it. My mouth tastes like bleach. We have headaches every single day. I know of children who have been diagnosed, 2 children in the last week with thrombocytopenia. They're hemorrhaging. It's the Corexit. EPA has come down and said they did testing, it was fine. Our independent scientists have tested, it is not fine. They're poisoning the Gulf Coast. Is this okay?
No!
No, it's not okay. This is America. This is happening in your backyard. They're killing us and they're covering it up. Think about that 10 years from now.